Hey everyone, it's Dan Sfera. Welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, that website address, if you don't already know it, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. And we did a video on this earlier. I think it was Don. He did it a few years back. We've been doing this for several years now. But the topic came up again, and I thought it would be an excellent opportunity to re-examine it. And this is a video for you study participants out there, people interested in maybe learning more about clinical trials, getting into a study. Also for you people who work in the industry, it's a good debate to have. And I'd love to get some of your answers and feedback on this. I've asked both of my companies, South Coast Clinical Trials as well as Breakthrough Clinical Trials, what they think. And I've got mixed responses from different people. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. It's related to the topic of informed consents, and this is not going to be a video about what an informed consent is necessarily. I've done tons of those in the past. Just do a search on my blog for informed consent. But this one's going to be about, is an informed consent a contract? I personally feel and argue that it's not. An informed consent is not a contract. Let's first look at what a contract is. A contract is something that's binding by both parties, and a contract is something that is enforceable. But the main purpose of a contract is that it binds both parties to an agreement. An informed consent, although it looks like a contract, and at times it's as complicated as a contract might be. I mean, for those of you, I wish I had one in front of me. I probably should have. For those of you who have never seen an informed consent, the only difference between an informed consent and a contract as far as how it looks like is there's no fine print on an informed consent, but on they're about the same amount of pages. I mean, I've seen some consent forms that are 30 pages, and then they have sub-studies, so depending on the different sub-studies, you could be looking at 50, 60 pages. So I argue an informed consent is not a contract. A contract serves its purpose of binding two different companies or groups or people or whatever to an agreement. And it binds them, legally enforceable. An informed consent is nothing more than explaining the purpose of the study to you, the study participant. Just because you sign an informed consent does not mean that it's binding. Okay, you can withdraw from the study the very next day. If you wanted to, you can sign the informed consent, and a minute later you can withdraw consent. That is perfectly okay. Informed consents are not binding. What the informed consent serves as a purpose of notifying you of all the risks, benefits, side effects of the drug, things like that, the purpose of the study, your rights as a study participant, and they have to be approved by an IRB, Institutional Review Board. So it's not just something that the drug company or the research clinic drafts and then have you sign it. These have to be approved by ethics committees, and very strict. They have very strict policies and guidelines for doing that. So it's not just like the research clinic or the drug company is trying to pull a fast one on you and get you to sign it. Again, it's not binding. Just because you sign an informed consent doesn't mean you can change your mind. That's the main difference between an informed consent and a contract. And if anything, it holds the research clinic responsible for what's in there. And it just notifies you, the study participant, of your rights. Now, this topic was reformed or given new life after years of not doing any videos on this topic, because one of our study participants, he signed the informed consent. He ended up being a screen failure, and so we couldn't enroll him in the study, and he got a little upset. He said, "Oh no, I'm in the study, I signed the contract with you guys." And they asked him, "Well, what contract did you sign?" He said he's talking about the informed consent. Again, I can see how you can mistake it as a contract, but that's not the way a clinical trial works. A clinical trial, even though it may involve money, it may involve study participants receiving money. An informed consent, the purpose is not, it's not an economic decision. It's not a form that is required because there's an economic transaction taking place. It's notification of your rights. It's letting you know the risks and rewards and benefits and purpose of the study. It really is not a binding contract. So, for those of you study participants out there or family of study participants who are maybe intimidated by seeing an informed consent, and I can understand, I mean, we live in this world, very litigious world, where people are skeptical when they see big forms and forms that look like they've been written by lawyers. So it's very easy to assume that an informed consent would fall under that category. It does not. Informed consents are not contracts. They are not binding. You can withdraw from any time for any reason. You don't even need to give a reason. You just need to tell them, I don't want to do this study anymore. Hopefully this helps demystify clinical trials a little bit more. Before I forget, I wanted to give our Clinical Trial Guru producers a shout out. We've got a lot. Let me pull it up really quick before I get distracted by my emails. But basically, on the clinicaltrialsguru.com, we have a thing where for $99 a year, and I'm only accepting 100 people or companies, for $99 a year, you get your very own page on our Clinical Trial Guru website. You get mentioned in every single video. You get to be a producer of our shows. That means you get mentioned in every video. You get tweeted about. You get promoted on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, many more. Maybe dozens more social networks. You get links back to your site. This is a very good feature for research clinics or independent consultants or contractors who work in the clinical trials industry who may want more exposure, more marketing for themselves. It's a very inexpensive way to do it. $99 a year. It's very simple. You do it on PayPal through the site. Just go to theclinicaltrialsguru.com and click register. Let me give a shout out to our guru producers. The first one is Sarah Elizabeth Siegler. Then we have Resolve Research Solutions, Accurate Clinical Trials, PTNR, Erdhart Clinical Research, Tradestone LLC, South Coast Clinical Trials, and Breakthrough Clinical Trials. So thank you very much for all your support. You make this show possible, and I'm looking forward to getting more of you guys to sign up. Go to theclinicaltrialsguru.com, click on register. I mean, it's $99 a year. It's like I know people who spend more on Starbucks in 1 month. So just do it. This is Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you.